There is a famous three-step strategy that you apply in CELPIP reading and you will get everything correct. You're about to be blown away with this. I'm going to simplify the hardest part of CELPIP reading using the strategy, and by the hardest part, I mean part 4. This is where you have a debate, usually between two people. Here we can see there's Dr. Sylvia Harper. So we're going to look at this practical example and I'm going to demonstrate this strategy and show you how accurate this will be for you. Now, she is someone who is talking about technology, how it has made it easier to connect with each other. It has also diluted the depth of interpersonal relationships. So this is her opinion. We know that this person is negative about technology. And usually this is okay. Now we know she is going to be saying how friendships are diluted because of technology. And then there's going to be this other person who's going to say the opposite. Usually at this point, you're motivated. You know everything is going to be okay. And you go into the questions. And this is where you give up. Now, the question, if it would have asked you, does Dr. Harper support technology or not? You would be in paradise. You would say, no, she hates technology. And that would be one of the options, and there you go. That would be if you're really lucky and you have an easy exam, but that usually does not happen. Usually you see stuff like this: lack of meaningful emotional bonds, over-reliance, very specific words. And to figure out which one is correct, you have to look at all of these words here. I mean, you're going to be looking at where's the emotional thing mentioned? Where's the over-reliance mentioned? And all of these words. And when you know you have to go back up, there's a big sigh and you give up. And I don't blame you. It's too much work. But let's go back to our three-step strategy that's going to make it all very peaceful and calm for you. The first strategy is summarize out of the three. So summary is where you look at sentences that are related to each other and just do a summary of about 10% of the length. Here's what I mean. Let's read it together. The dynamics of modern friendships have become a topic of extensive study and debate among psychologists and socialists. This one, I'm just going to ignore it because introductory sentences like these usually never have answers. So, useless. Let's go here. Let's see their opinions. Dr. Sylvia Harper, a prominent psychologist, argues that the nature of friendships has undergone significant changes due to the rise of social media and digital communication. Okay. Let's continue, okay, because this is still according to her, and there's not much that was said here. She's saying that there has been some change. Fine, let's keep going. According to Harper, while technology has made it easier to connect with others, it has also diluted the depth of interpersonal relationships. So let me do a summary of these two sentences. She is saying there has been a change in friendships because of technology, and it has diluted the friendships, which means made it worse. What I've done right now is made all of this very short and simple for me, for my own sake, for my understanding. Let's continue. She claims that many friendships today are based on superficial interactions, such as likes, comments, and brief messages, rather than meaningful conversations or shared experiences. And now I see another sentence saying Harper believes, so that will be something else. I'll look at that later. But let me summarize this highlighted part right here. So she's saying that friendships are all about likes nowadays. That's it, right? That's all she's saying. That's meaningless friendships. It's all about likes. Perfect. Simplified. Let's go here. Harper believes that often that the shift has contributed to a sense of isolation for many individuals, as digital friendships often lack the emotional support and authenticity that come from face-to-face connections. So in summary, let's summarize this again. You can pause the video if you want to do it. I'm going to go ahead now. And she's basically saying people are isolated because it's not authentic. Perfect. So what was the summary of this whole thing? There were 3 parts to this paragraph. The first part, she was saying that technology is not good. It's brought up change, which is negative. Then she says that we're all focused on likes, not really genuine friendships. And then she says that now because of that, people are isolated and there's not genuineness or sincerity. That's it. How much simpler is my version that I explained to myself compared to everything that is written here? So if you focus on everything that's written, it's going to be overwhelming and you won't remember a thing when you go down to the questions. So now that we know this, let's now tackle the question. And this is where you go to the part 2 of the 3-step procedure. Now we're going to assume the answer. This is what I mean. The first answer is lack of meaningful emotional bonds. This makes sense. There are not many emotional bonds because everything is diluted online. Perfect. Over-reliance on online activities. This is where the examiner's trying to confuse me. Look, there are more online activities, but activities itself is not mentioned. Like, is it mentioned that they're gonna go online and play games? They're gonna watch videos? No. And there's not like, I'm relying on that. It was more about friendships, not activities. So no. Superficiality in interactions. So we are not very focused or genuine in interactions, which was exactly what was said towards the end. So I'm going to think this is a better answer because I can tell you, look, this was the last sentence. This is also correct. So I'm just thinking. And then this one, erosion of deeper personal ties. Once again, the problem in CELPIP reading is every answer is so close. This looks okay too. The deeper personal ties are eroding. However, if I have to pick between C, D, and A, I'm going to go with C first, A next, and D later, because the word erosion here is what bothers me. She was not talking about how we are having less and less personal connections. She was saying that the connections we're having now lack the genuineness or depth of sincerity or realness. So it's not much focus on the ties, the number of friendships that are reducing. It's the genuineness that is reducing. But I am not sure. So I am still assuming. So my assumptions are C is correct. A is probably the next best one because it's kind of general, not specific like C. And D is probably never the answer. Now we're on step 2. We're assuming. And you need to do this because a lot of times we look at this, we go back and confirm, we look at this, go back and confirm. You have to first create a bias that this is probably correct, but I am still gonna look at these two to confirm. And that's where your third step comes over, where you go back up and confirm, which we'll do in a second. But let's look at, again, step 2, which is assumption, and why that is important. Because now, most of the times, if you have read the passage perfectly and you have summarized it, the things you're assuming usually to be correct are correct. So it'll save you time if you are rushing. It'll also give you an edge over other options, because if you look at all 3 and go up and check, all 3 are very close. But if you have a little bit of bias, you would know that this is correct, but you're open-minded to others too. It reduces your stress and gives you more possibilities to think. So now we're going back up and we'll reread it again, quicker, much quicker, to make sure that there is no erosion, as you saw here, erosion of deeper personal ties. That is not mentioned. And again, superficiality in interactions, I can tell you it is right here. Specifically, I can point that out, where she's saying that things are focused on likes rather than meaningful conversations or shared experiences. So it's right there. And she also mentioned there's diluted depth of interpersonal relationships and lack of emotional support and authenticity. There are 3 places basically where I can tell you that the answer is lack of depth or superficiality. Lack of meaningful emotional bonds is a result of all of this. Due to all of this, there is less emotional bonds. And that is not something that is specifically mentioned, but it's an overall thing. You always want to pick the specific answer. And what we're doing here is going back here and confirming. We're on step 3. And as we assumed in step 2, this to be the right answer, we just confirmed it. And that is indeed the right answer. Okay, so guys, now use the 3-step procedure: summary, assumption, and confirmation for this question. And then you comment down below which answer is correct. Here's the question, and you need to read this paragraph to get the answer. Make sure you summarize, assume, and confirm. Take a screenshot if you need to here. And this is the question 2. Take a screenshot here and comment down below. We have an amazing community of people who help each other out. So when you see your comments, reply to others. If you don't agree with them, if you agree with them, share your thoughts, and please like, share, and subscribe. If you want more challenging mock tests like these, please also check out our CELPIP self-paced course in the description. Best of luck.